Hi, my peoples. I'm not sure what number video this is, but we're back again. So this topic that I want to talk about today, I got inspired actually by my younger brother. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna go into too much details about the situation, but just know that the inspiration came from him, and that it definitely brings like a lot of, what's the word? Like, it definitely makes me think about the amount of people who are also going through the same issue. And so because of that, I wanted to kind of make a video just, giving my opinion and my thoughts. Again, I'm not saying that like my opinion is the end all be all, but I do think that I could offer just a little bit of insight on the situation and maybe help, some of you guys, in terms of like how to move and stuff like that, and how to like navigate through this situation. I don't know if I made a video on this already, but if I did, then screw it, part 2, I guess. But so I want to talk about like our parents, right? And I feel like when it comes to our parents, they're kind of like the first teachers of like life, basically. Like whatever you learn as a kid mainly comes from your parents, because you're around them the most. So it's like whatever behaviors they exhibit, you're going to also exhibit as well. And I wanted to speak on this because I do feel like sometimes our parents can kind of hold us back in a way. And the reason why I say that is because I don't think some parents mean it out of like malice. I don't think they mean it because like they intentionally want to. Some do, don't get me wrong, some do. Some definitely do. Others just may not be aware, right? But at the same time, nonetheless, I do think sometimes our parents can hold us back. And I do think sometimes, as their sons or as their daughter, we kind of get like a little bit frustrated because we want to do something with our lives. We want to do like, we want to, try to like, seek new pastures. But it's almost like when we try to, or when we even think about doing it, it's almost like we get reminded of, no, I'm your mom, I'm your dad. Like, I know what's best for you, this, that, and the third. I don't doubt the fact that I think our parents want what's best for us, but I don't think they know what's best for us. Well, they don't actually. They don't know what's best for us. No shade to any parents out there, but I don't think parents understand like what's best for our children in terms of like what we want to do in life. You know what I'm saying? So, and I do definitely feel like, at least with me, me and my younger brother, I do feel like we both kind of have like different things we want to do in life, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like our mom sometimes like tries to keep us binded and tries to keep us like enmeshed within her, because I don't think she understands that like we're just not those little kids that she once knew us to be anymore. And I just don't think her ego is letting her like accept that. So instead of just letting us do, what we want to do in life, she wants to keep us stuck in the same cycles that we're trying to break out of, And I do definitely feel like that's where some parents can fall short. I do definitely feel like there's some parents out there who view their child as like an entity, like almost like a golden ticket, like a piece of treasure, instead of a human being. And so now what happens is when we grow up as kids, when we start to find out the truth about our parents, it hurts. I ain't gonna lie, it's painful, because it's like that's not what you grew up on. You grew up on like, your parents being these nice people. I mean, we all did to an extent. All of us did. Like most of us, thought that our parents were cool people. And again, I'm not saying all parents are bad, because not all parents are bad. There are some good parents out there who genuinely look out for their kids. And to those parents, shout out to you guys. I'm specifically talking about the parents who use their children as like entities and use their children as like a further extension of their own life. And if you ask me, that's probably one of the most selfish things a human being could do. Like trying to live vicariously through your children. Nah, screw that. Like, no. Cause like, that's just selfish. That is just pure, like, that tells me that that parent only cares about themselves. And I do definitely feel like sometimes my mom is like that. I'm not gonna lie, especially with my younger brother. But like I said, I'm not gonna get too in the details or anything. But I do definitely feel like sometimes my younger brother goes through it a lot more than I do. And you know, sometimes I try to like be the voice of reason for him, because you know he's only 18. So it's like he kind of needs that role model, or like someone that he can look to, that can be like a good example of like how to, you know, how to maneuver in life, especially being a young man too, you know, a young black man at that, you know. So he definitely needs that role model. Bro, this lady just threw her trash out. My bad. Some lady just threw her Chick-fil-A trash out. That was just crazy. But anyways, yeah, so I feel like, you know, especially with him being 18, you know, he's at a point now where it's like he's trying to discover what he likes, who he is, you know, what he's into, this, that, and the third. And I genuinely feel like our mom is holding him back, you know. And I do definitely feel like the reason for that is because he's a polar split image of my dad. But like I said, I'm not going to get too much into that. So I want to just kind of keep it centered around the fact that, like, do not let your parents control your life. Because I'm not going to lie, I know it's a very cliche saying, but after 18, your parents really can't tell you anything. I mean, they can, right? You know, if you live under their roof, you know, I understand that we're still going to be like, you know, having to adhere to their rules and stuff. But at the same time, don't let that like be the reason why you don't want to get the best that you can out of life, or like do whatever it is you want to do in this lifetime, because you definitely can still do that. And don't let your parents project onto you and tell you that you can't do this, you can't do that, because that's bullshit. The real reason why parents do that, in my opinion, just as a 22-year-old, you know, young black man, the reason why I feel like parents do that sometimes is because I think, one, it's jealousy, because they never got to fill out their true potential of what they really wanted to be. And so what's going to make them feel better is if you go down the same route they went down, right? So that's one. Two, I think an element of fear, for sure. There is definitely an element of fear, because I genuinely do think some parents fear their children being more successful than them. And when I think about that, I just can't even fathom like how a parent could even think that way. Like, to me, it's just crazy. I don't know. But I think it's probably a mix, one or both, of jealousy, fear. It could be some other things too, but that's just the two that I've commonly like spotted, you know, within my family dynamic and other like family dynamics that I've seen, you know, like within my friends and stuff. So, but like I said, there could be more. But yeah, I definitely do think that, I don't know, I just hate the fact that it's like how parents be trying to hold us back. But honestly, I feel like, now I'm not saying, I don't want to make it a parents versus child thing. I'm not here to make it like, I'm not here to divide families. I'm not here to do any of that. No, that's not what I want to do. I would never be an advocate of somebody breaking up a happy home. No, of course not. But what I am saying is, I think children, or let's just say us as an example, right? I think we are allowed to go against what they want, you know, and whether we're crazy for that or not, you know, at the end of the day, I personally just feel like we have every right to do that. Because why can't we? You know, no one can provide me a logical reason as to why we shouldn't go against what our parents want. And again, I'm not trying to make it a revolution or nothing like that. Like, I'm not trying to start World War III. No, I'm just solely saying that I think we should be allowed to do what we want in this life, regardless of what our parents think, our uncles, aunts, friends. I don't care. Like, we have a right to do what we want in this life. I don't care what no one says. I don't care. If you want to call me crazy, call me crazy. Call me all the names you want. You're not going to change my mind. You're just not. So, you know, and I want you to feel the same way. Like, to whoever's watching this video, don't let your parents control you. If there's something that you want to do in this life, if there's that something that you feel like in your heart or in your soul, it's there for a reason, and you should follow it. And yeah, there's a chance that you may lose your friends. There's going to be a chance you probably lose your parents too, you know. And don't get me wrong, that definitely isn't going to be the most ideal situation to be in. But at the same time, you can't sacrifice your life to please somebody else. No. Like, I even tell my younger brother all the time, dude, you got to do what you want to do, even if it goes against what I want. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, this is your life. And whether I like it or not, you know, to an extent, you really shouldn't care. You know what I'm saying? Because this is your life. This is the life, you know, you want to live. Then you got to do it, bro. You can't. Don't let people's opinions. Don't let people like, you know. Nah. Don't let people hold you back like that. No. Cause what? You don't want to be miserable and you know, unsatisfied. So no. I think personally, we should be allowed to do what we want. And it doesn't mean you hate your parents. I mean, some of us maybe do, you know, and that's okay. You know, to each their own. Everyone's entitled to their opinion and stuff like that. And I'm not gonna judge, you know, how whichever side of the coin you fall on. It's completely up to you. But the only thing I'm saying is, I think parents got to stop holding their children back, and I think parents got to stop controlling their children and let their children decide what they want to do in life and just support them. Because if you keep trying to control your children, if you keep trying to like, you know, if you keep trying to tell them what to do, you're only gonna create. It's only gonna be resentment, you know. And I feel like, especially like, you know, you need that level of freedom to an extent. And if you can't even get it from the people that are supposed to give it to you, then it's kind of just like, you know, what are we doing here? So, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Like I said, I'm not saying it to hate your parents. I mean, you can feel however you want to feel about your parents. Everyone's situation is different. But I just wanted to make a video, almost like a reminder to whoever's watching it, is do not let your parents hold you back. Don't. They're going to feel some type of way. They're going to call you names. They're going to say you crazy. They're going to say this, that, and the third. But quite frankly, you should not care. Because at the end of the day, this is your life. This is your future. This is your career. And this is the only chance you're going to have to do what you want in this world. And if you got to disappoint others to get there, you're going to have to do that, unfortunately. So, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until the next one, I'm out.